Going to continue with our study of God's authority versus Satan's control. I asked a bunch of questions and got a bunch of answers. Imagine that. Anyway, this is going to be 14 pages, so I don't know how many videos it will be because I'm running on limited time, 10 minutes of video, because I don't want to pay. Anyway, in Christian theology and other religious traditions, Satan is often described as a spiritual being who tempts and influences humans. While the concept of Satan controlling emotions in a direct physical sense is not a common view, there are significant theological perspectives that describe his influence on human thoughts and feelings. Here are some key points from this perception. Temptation and deception. The most prevalent view is that Satan works through temptation and deception, which in turn affect human emotions. He is seen as a liar and the father of lies, planting false thoughts and ideas in a person's mind. These thoughts, such as feelings of worthlessness, fear, anxiety, or anger, are not necessarily directly controlled by Satan, but are the result of believing his lies. Spiritual warfare. Many Christians believe in a concept of spiritual warfare where they must actively resist the devil's influence. This can include fighting against negative emotions that are believed to be the flaming arrows of the evil one. These feelings are seen as an attack, and believers are encouraged to respond with prayer, faith, and adherence to religious truth. Demonic oppression and possession. In some traditions, particularly with Catholicism and certain Protestant denominations, a distinction is made between demonic influence and demonic possession. Oppression. This is a form of influence where a person experiences attacks from evil spirits, which can include sudden and irrational thoughts or feeling of despair, rage, or fear. The biblical figure of Job is often cited an example of oppression, where Satan tormented him through a series of misfortunes. Possession. This is a more extreme state, where a demon is believed to have taken full control of a person's body and actions. While rare, this is sometimes associated with the loss of control over one's emotion, thoughts, and will. Theological purpose of Satan. Some theological views suggest that God permits Satan's influence to serve a greater purpose, such as testing human faith or revealing the need for God's grace. This perspective sees the struggle with negative emotions as an opportunity for spiritual growth and a deeper reliance on God. It is important that these are theological and religious beliefs and not scientific or psychological claims. From a modern secular perspective, emotions are understood as complex products of neurobiology, psychology, and environmental factors. Many religious leaders and scholars advocate for a balanced approach, urging individuals to seek professional medical and psychological help for mental health issues while also addressing spiritual concerns through prayer and faith. Within some theological frameworks, particularly in Christian thought, there is a belief that substance abuse can make a person more vulnerable to negative spiritual influences, including Satan's control and demonic oppression. This is a complex topic with different perspectives, but a few key themes emerge. Weakened spiritual and psychological defenses. Many spiritual traditions teach that a person's spiritual strength is tied to their clarity of mind, self-control, and connection to a divine or higher power. Drugs and alcohol are seen as substances that can impair these faculties. By clouding judgment and weakening the will, they may create a spiritual opening or door. What makes a person more successful is the temptation of spiritual attack. The Bible verse 1 Peter 5:8. Be alert and of sober mind. Your enemy, the devil, prowls around like a roaring lion looking for something to devour. Is often cited in this context to emphasize the importance of a clear and sober state. The spirit of addiction. Some religious leaders and ministries view addiction itself as a spiritual bondage or a spirit of addiction. For this perspective, compulsive destructive behavior of an addict is not just a physical or psychological issue, but a spiritual one driven by a demonic force. This substance, alcohol or drugs, is seen as a tool or a pathway for the spirit to maintain control over a person's life, leading to isolation, shame, and a loss of purpose, spiritual emptiness, and false relief. Addiction is often understood as a worship disorder, a form of idolatry, where a person seeks a substance to fill a spiritual void or to find relief from pain and suffering. The temporary high or escape that drugs and alcohol provide is seen as a counterfeit to the true comfort and peace found in a relationship with God. When a person turns to a substance instead of God for help, they are believed to be moving farther away from a protected spiritual relationship and toward a more state of vulnerability. Psychological and spiritual interplay. It's important to recognize that many who hold these beliefs do not dismiss the psychological and biological aspects of addiction. They often see addiction as a multifaceted problem with physical, mental, and spiritual components. A person's genetic predisposition, trauma, and mental health struggles can all contribute to addiction, and in turn, these vulnerabilities can be exploited by negative spiritual forces. While these are common theoretical views, they are not universally accepted. Many people, including Christians, view addiction primarily through a medical and psychological lens, emphasizing the need for professional treatment and support. The conversation around addiction often includes both a clinical understanding of it as a chronic disease and a spiritual recognition of the person's need for healing, community, and purpose. Within religious and spiritual frameworks, particularly within the forms of Christianity, there is a belief that substance abuse can create a vulnerability to Satan's influence or demonic oppression, which may lead to violent actions. It's important to understand that this is a theological perspective, not a claim supported by scientific or empirical evidence. That's one.